China can be geographically divided into these four parts: South, North, Northwest, and Tibet, of which the North and South are home to the majority of the country's population, while directly in the middle of the North and South are a series of mountains running east-west called the Qinling Mountains and a large river called the Huai River. However, their significance goes beyond the geographical division. They subtly distinguish China in terms of climate and temperature, and this has led to a very different cultures and customs in the north and south. First of all, the Qinling Mountains block the cold winds from Siberia in winter and the southeast monsoon from the sea in summer, and the Qinghai Line is tested to be roughly at the 0 degrees Celsius isotherm in January in China, which means that it separates the many rivers and lakes in the north that have ice ages and those in the south that do not. So ice skating in the wild is usually a northern privilege in China. It also divides China into subtropical and warm temperate zones, which also separates the subtropical evergreen broadleaf forests in the south from the temperate deciduous broadleaf forests in the north. An old Chinese saying is that if an orange is born in Huainan, which means the south of Huai River, it is an orange. But if it is born in Huaibei, which means the north, it would be a trifoliate that tastes totally different, reflecting the difference in vegetation between the north and the south. On the other hand, the Qinghai line has been tested over the years and largely overlaps with the 800 millimeters Qinling-Huaihe Line in China. It distinguishes between paddy fields and dry lands, and consequently leads to a very basic but important difference between North and South China. The line dividing the main production areas of wheat and rice. The staple food of the Chinese can perhaps be divided quite simply into these two. The north is dominated by noodles and other wheat products, while the south is dominated by rice. For some other very important ingredients, such as oil and sugar, the north uses peanuts and soybeans to extract oil, the south is mainly planted with rapeseed. Meanwhile, sugar in the south mainly comes from sugar cane, while sugar in the north mainly comes from sugar beets. This is how China's rich and diverse food culture unfolds. Of course, specific food categories are not so clear cut, but it is still a general differentiation. Due to the influence of these resources and location and other factors, China's industrial layout also has the geographical characteristics of being light in the south and heavy in the north. Northern China is rich in mineral resources such as coal, oil, and iron ore, thus gradually forming an industrial structure dominated by heavy industries such as mining, metallurgy, and machinery manufacturing. Southern China, on the other hand, has more high-end industrial raw materials such as raw rare metals, precious metals, and non-ferrous metals, but lacks basic industrial raw materials such as coal and oil, while the South has strong capital and technical strength, so it chooses to develop the industrial types with less consumption of raw materials in the field, and thus the light industry is relatively more developed. Here we can here we can introduce one of those cultural characteristics that seem inconspicuous but are deeply rooted in the North-South divide. When you focus on traditional architecture in China, you may notice that southern roofs are high and pointed. The reason is that they are good for drainage, ventilation, and heat dissipation. In the north, due to less rain precipitation, the roof is built more flat so that it can save building materials. The northern buildings consider more heat preservation and warmth. There are many other differences between North and South China, bringing diversity and possibilities for China's development. Hope that you can notice some other characteristics when you travel in this country. Thank you.